Hello and welcome everyone. I am Blue Jay and this is my War Dragons channel on YouTube, and welcome to another episode of my War Dragons basic training series. And in today's episode we're going to cover the three basic aspects of this game. And with that, War Dragons is a strategy game that's based on three aspects. Those aspects are breeding dragons to build an army of dragons, attacking with those dragons to earn points in wars and events, and to gain experience points on those dragons and level them up to unlock more dragons, and to build your base to level yourself up. Now, the dragons are split up into 4 classes at this point in time, and we're just going to click on the Dragon's Den and click on View Dragons. And when you click on Swap, the first series of dragons, or the first class of dragons, is the Hunter Dragon, and they use what's called a fast tap attack, and that's basically where you use your fingers to tap on the screen to target various towers on a enemy base. And you can use up to 5 fingers with the Hunter Dragon. That can be very difficult to actually achieve good targeting with all 5 shots, so I stick to about 2 to 3 fingers and I alternate between them, where I'll tap on 3 towers, then I'll tap on 2 towers, and it's what I've found to be one of the most efficient ways to use a Hunter. And with the Hunter, their ammo starts regenerating immediately. As soon as you've taken your first shot, it starts regenerating those shots. But you can run out by using this multiple shot method and have to revert to just using a single finger to tap on individual towers. But it is a very powerful dragon. It does level for level, shot for shot. It's one of the more powerful classes of dragons in the game. Its health, on the other hand, it can't take a lot of damage. It does a lot of damage, but it can't take a lot of damage. You get that trade-off. The next class is the Warrior Dragon, and the Warrior Dragon uses what's called a flamethrower attack. And with that, you're just going to take your finger and drag it across the screen, and wherever your finger goes on the screen is where that flame is going to hit. And it's a continuous flame. And with the Warrior Dragon, you have the opposite trade-off that you had with the Hunter, where with the Warrior, it can take a lot of damage. As far as its health goes, it's got some of the most health level for level of any of the classes of dragons, but it doesn't do a whole lot of damage with its flamethrower. So you've got that trade-off where it can take a lot of damage, but it's also not dealing a lot of damage out. So it's gonna rely on spells as well to help boost that damage that it's doing. The next class down is Sorcerer Dragons, and they use what's called a swipe attack, and you're just going to take a single finger and you're just going to swipe it across the screen. And when you see me demonstrate that, you're just going to see a red line swipe across the screen. That's just the trace of my finger. But most Sorcerer Dragons, they're a very balanced dragon as far as their attack damage and their health, but they rely very heavily on spells. And their spells, they usually have red spells that do damage to towers, and blue spells that either help them regain their health or shield them from damage. And they use rage to cast these spells, and it makes them very effective dragons, and they're very easy to use once you've learned their spells and how they work. So it's one of the dragons that a lot of people end up getting used to and liking a lot and using. So Sorcerer dragons are great, again balanced, very easy to learn how to fly. Next class down is the Invoker dragon, and this is a hybrid dragon, and it's not currently breedable. There aren't any of these that are breedable. You can only really get them by participating in the seasonal events in this game. But they are kind of a hybrid between the Sorcerer dragon and the Hunter dragon. They use a similar tap attack to the Hunter. The main difference is their ammo, where with the Hunter, as soon as you start tapping, it starts regenerating its ammunition. With the Invoker, you get 4 shots. The first 3 shots are standard fireball shots, just like a Hunter. The third shot has a spell attached to it that does an area of effect damage, similar to any of the red spells and things like that. And until you fire that 4th shot, the ammunition doesn't start regenerating. So there is a brief moment of time where you're not going to be able to fire any shots. So you do rely on various spells that it's got, that the Invoker has, to do damage, to block incoming damage, and to help you regenerate your ammunition as soon as you can. And to keep you safe while your ammo is regenerating. So those are the 4 classes of dragons, and to get the first 3 classes, the Hunter, Warrior, and Sorcerer, you have to breed them. You can get some of them by participating in the seasonal events, but a lot of them you're going to get through breeding, and you do have to breed these dragons to get into higher classes. And to breed dragons, you're going to need breeding tokens, which you can get those through the egg token missions, like these right here, which destroy 3 Dracula pylons or inflict 48 million damage with Ember. You also get a daily gift of the egg tokens for breeding from the team meeting hall. Every 24 hours you'll get that check mark pop up, and you can collect the reward. The size of the reward is based on 2 things, and that's the league that you're in and war wins or losses that week, or the day not that week, but that day before. If you lost a war the day before, you'll lose some tokens from the daily bonus. If you won a war or won several wars, that will add to that bonus. And you can see above my head a little counter that keeps track of the egg tokens. To do the breeding, you have to go to the breeding castle, and once you're inside the breeding castle, you'll notice that the dragons are split up into these groups that are called tiers, and each of the tiers has a color assigned to them: garnet, sapphire, platinum, gold, green, and so on. And each of the dragons that you see that says ready to breed, you can click on those and you can start breeding them. Right below my head, this dragon here that we're going to click on is ready to breed, and this is the easy way to do things. I do suggest once you get into the orange tier that you get onto a breeding path, and I will show you in a future video how to read and follow breeding paths. But for today, this is the easy way to breed. And you just click on the dragon and click on go to crossbreed. And you can either click the breed once button or you can click the instant breed. Another thing you can do is on each side you can scroll up and down through these lists of the dragons that you have that are of the appropriate level to start breeding, and you can change them, and as you change them it changes the various types of dragon eggs that you'll produce. So there are different parents for each egg, and there are certain eggs that can be produced by multiple different parents. A breeding path helps with this because it helps you pick the most efficient parents to use to produce the eggs that you want to continue to move through the tiers at a decent pace. But for today, I'll show you the two different ways to breed. Once you've got the parents selected, and that's the instant breed method, which that button is right over on the bottom left of the screen. And instant breed allows you to do the breeding instantly. The button next to that in the middle of the screen at the bottom is the breed once. But once you click on instant breed, you can click on which egg you want to breed, and it'll tell you how many breeds it's going to do and how many tokens that's going to cost you. And there is some debate about whether or not this uses more tokens than is necessary. And there was some talk when it first came out of there being a glitch involved, but honestly, if it does use more tokens and you've got the tokens to spare, I would go with it because that's going to help you out in the breeding events. The breed once button is the other way to do it, and I'll show you that right now. When you click on breed once, it's going to pop up this little menu here, and it's kind of a roll of the dice chance which egg fragment you're going to get. And from here you could click on auto breed, which that's going to breed 20 eggs at a time, 20 egg fragments at a time, until it gives you an egg that you do not have yet. Once you get an egg that you do not have yet, it'll send you over to the incubator. So once you've got an egg that's completely got all the fragments to it, you're going to need to incubate it to have it hatch. And I'll show you that here in just a second. We'll exit out of the breeding menu here, and I will show you the incubator, which the incubator is where the egg is going to go once it's completed to hatch, and that's going to take some time. You can also speed that along with either rubies or timers. Just a second. But breeding is how you're going to get the various dragons that you want to get to stronger dragons. The dragons that you get from the seasonal events are going to be vastly stronger than the ones that you get through breeding. But there are some very good dragons that you're going to breed along the way. And there's also those people that like to breed the dragons just for their looks or just for their collectability. And there are some very pretty dragons that you'll breed along the way. But again, once you get into the orange tier, you're going to want to really follow a breeding path. But over here, this is the incubator, and if you click on incubate, you can see what eggs you've got started and if there's one finished, you can put it on the incubator and start it on the process of hatching. Right now I'm going to show you how to use those dragons in the second aspect of this game, which is attacking. And attacking is how you can gain resources, how you gain points, and how you can complete egg missions. And you can either attack through this button down here at the bottom of the egg mission menu below my head in the bottom right corner of the screen. There's also another button in the main screen on your base down in the bottom right corner. That's again 2 crossed swords, and when you click either one of those buttons, it's going to launch the attack menu that I'll show you right now by clicking this button down below my head with the 2 crossed swords. The number right next to it, 9 of 9, is how many healed dragons I have available to fly. But this is the attack matchmaking menu, and in this menu it brings up various bases that it believes that you can beat, and then it's going to bring up some bases that it feels are going to be difficult for you to beat. But on each of them it tells you how much XP or experience points you're going to get for the dragons you use in that attack, and if you successfully complete the attack, how much food and wood you're going to get. And a successful attack is 70% of the base destroyed. But for this demonstration, I'm going to use a bookmarked farm base. And a farm base is a base that has been built with the intention of it being attacked to help you complete egg missions. So I'm going to show you that right now. I'm going to click on my bookmarks, and we're going to go to this farm base here, and you can see on the map one of the egg missions I had was to destroy 3 dark pylons, or Dracula pylons, and those purplish towers are the Dracula pylons. But if you look over on the left of the screen, you'll see that little X2 and the info button. If you click on that, it opens up the egg missions again. So if you've ever forgotten what one is, you can always look at them right before you go to attack, and anytime you select a dragon in between once you're engaged in attack. So my 2 missions are inflict 48 million damage with Ember and destroy 3 Dracula pylons. This base has 4 Dracula pylons, and this here is Ember, and it is a hunter dragon. You can see that right there. I've just highlighted where it shows the class over on the left hand side of the screen, and it's a hunter. So I'm gonna one of the things you can also do is right below where it shows you the class, it shows you the abilities, which are the various spells that it has, and you can click on each one of these to get a description of what the spell is and the name of the spell, in case you've got an egg mission that requires that you use a specific spell. Behind my head, there's also these check boxes here. The 2 top ones are permanent spell boosts that, when you've got them selected, they increase the attack and the health power of the dragon that they're on. The one below it can be interchanged, but I just clicked attack, and each time I tap on the screen right now, as you see, each time I tap, it shoots a fireball, and I'm doing 3 fingers, 2 fingers, and then I follow up, sometimes cleaning up with a single tap, Um, Ember does also have a Death Gaze, which will destroy any tower instantly. Um, we're going to fast forward through this just a little bit here. Um, I just used Death Gaze to destroy that farm, and I used it again there. I should have used it again real quick on that perch, but I didn't, and I got killed. So we're going to continue this with a warrior dragon. And I'm going to select a warrior dragon here, and you've only got a select amount of time to do that in. But, you know, again, you can see the class in the exact same spot. You can look over the spells. You can click on what boost you want selected. But it's the flamethrower attack. It's a constant flame from the dragon that never runs out. And that circle that you see moving around is where my finger is on the screen. And wherever my finger goes, that flame follows and does damage to anything in its path. And it can do damage to even weird little parts of the base that don't really count at all, like the trees and the extra houses and stuff like that. But from here, you've just completed an attack and you've gained experience points on each of the dragons. I can either click return home down below, or up in the top corner there's this little curved arrow, and if you click on that you get a drop down menu. And with that drop down menu, it gives you 3 different options, and I'll show you them here in a second. We're actually going to use one of them. You've got the option to bookmark a base, which if you found a farm base that's on a farm team, you can bookmark those, or if you've got a base you specifically want to keep track of or something like that, you can bookmark them. You can click attack next, or you can share the replay of your attack if you want to. We're going to click attack next. That brings us right back into the matchmaking menu. Again, I'm going to go to my bookmarks. I'm going to go to the same base, and I'm going to click attack. As you can see, it now says 1x over on the left-hand side where the info button is. That means I've completed one of the egg missions that I had before, which was destroy the 3 Dracula pylons. I still need to do a little bit of damage with Ember, so I'm going to start this next attack with Ember in hopes of being able to finish out that egg mission. So I'm going to heal Ember, and I'm going to click attack. And this invite teammates button, when you're doing regular attacks or doing attacks to get food or lumber, and even just if you need help with an attack, you want to click that attack button or that invite teammates button, because that allows your teammates to join you and help you in your attack, which it can allow you to use up to 5 dragons instead of just the 3 that you're allowed to use just by yourself, depending on how many people join your attack. If one player joins you, you get to use one of their dragons as well as the 3 you can use. And if 2 join you, you can use both of theirs and get 5. But this is a sorcerer dragon. Again, you can see the class, and this has the swipe attack, and it has various spells that help block damage and do large amounts of damage. So the 2 types of spells that you've got your swipe attack, which is just swiping across. You can see the red swipe, that's my finger. But you've got an area of attack spell, which does damage to a large area, which the spell I just used, that top spell, is an area of attack spell. And I'll show you what I mean by that here. I'll use it again, and it destroys all 5 towers in that area. The one down at the bottom that I just used on the perch, that only does damage to a single tower. So this dragon can use its spells to destroy a base a lot quicker than it can just through swiping. And you can use them in combination with each other to do a lot of damage at once. So those are the three types. Those are the three core types of dragons that there are: the hunter, the sorcerer, and the warrior dragons, and how you attack with them. I hit return home this time, came back to the base, and as you can see, it's now a flashing egg above the egg mission balloon. It still says I have a mission. I wasn't able to finish out the one with Ember. I will finish that out after this video, but we're going to move on to the next aspect of this game, which the next aspect is building your base. Once you've done enough attacks with dragons, you can upgrade them and level them up. I don't necessarily want to level up this particular one just right now, but we'll level this one up here. And you just click on train down at the bottom, and right now it says evolve. It can also say level up as well, but this when it levels up this time, it's going to evolve to a higher tier of dragon. This is a dragon that was gotten through a seasonal event. And now it's saying I need to upgrade my den before I can level up this dragon any further. So that brings us to the third aspect of this game, which is leveling up your bases and building your base. And when you're building your base, the first towers you're going to get are your farms. And they're how you're going to get the resources, the food for your dragons, and the wood to build your towers and to level them up. And once you've built your farms, the next towers that you're going to get are going to be towers that do damage to dragons and protect your base. At the level I'm at, I've unlocked all of the various towers that you can get. So my base right now looks a lot different than one that's just starting out. Just starting out, you're going to mainly use a handful of towers that are available to you starting out. And those towers are the archer, the cannon, the storm tower, and also the 2 mage towers that are available, which help block spells or spells on dragons. The archer is the first one you're going to be able to build. It's going to do a good amount of damage, and it attacks fairly fast. The cannon is one that you're really going to want to have a few of when you start out. It does a lot of damage. It can break through shields on dragons, so it's very helpful for that. Next one is the storm tower, which it's the first elemental tower that you get. It does damage that's considered elemental, and it also puts a shield on the towers that surround it. So it's a good one to have as well. And you're probably going to have 1 or 2 of them on your base when you build it out. Now keep in mind, you only really want about 15 towers. Now, there are a few that you don't want that aren't worth building. The ballista, the trebuchet, and the lightning towers are not really worth building, especially when you're just starting out. The lightning tower can be good way later in the game at a very high level and in a large group of like 5 of them, but the ballista and trebuchet are never really good. The mage towers are very good. They block spells. The red one blocks red spells that do damage. The blue one disables blue spells from being engaged or cast. So it stops dragons from shielding themselves. You've then got the turrets, You've got the flak towers, and then you've got the crystal howitzer and the Dracula pylon, which are brand new towers to the game. They were just brought out this season. These unlock as you level up, and in the first episode of my basic training, I actually show you how to use the merge and the transform tool, which will help you as you're leveling up and you unlock these towers to either merge in your old towers into the new ones that you're building and after you've unlocked them, or to transform those old towers into the new ones as you unlock them. But as you can see, I've got a red mage in the center of my farms. That's disabling red spells. Over here, where I've got a lot of towers that do damage to the dragon, I've got a blue mage up front that's going to disable a dragon from enabling its shield spells. And then I've got towers that do various amounts of damage and different types of damage. And you want to keep your base fairly short. You want to build it up, not out, which means you want to level up your towers. You don't want to build new ones necessarily. And to level up a tower, you just move over to whatever tower you want to level up. And right now we're going to level up a red mage tower that's towards the end of my base here. And once you're over that, you just click on it and you click on the upgrade button. And if you've got the available amount of resources, you can click on upgrade. If you don't have the available amount of resources, there is actually a button that you can click and it'll post in your team chat a request for help for the required amount of wood that you need to be able to do the upgrade. And your teammates can actually send that wood to you. But I've got what I need, so I'm going to click the upgrade button. And once you click on the upgrade button, it will put a little scaffolding around the tower, and that tower will actually vanish as far as players attacking your base aren't going to see it. And up above it, it says 25 days. That's how long it's going to take for that tower to complete itself as far as upgrading. As soon as a fortification event comes around, I will speed that tower up so I can continue building. But right now it's not a fortification event, so I'm not going to use the timers to speed that along. But that's how you upgrade towers. Now, there are a few other things that are parts of the base. You've got the perches, which hold dragons that boost the other towers on the islands around them. There are 3 perches throughout the entirety of your base, and each day that you check in, there are a few things that are considered upkeep in this game that you're going to want to do. You're going to want to check your team meeting hall. You're going to want to collect the XP from your perches, and you're going to want to check in on your bounties harbor, which is this building here in the center where the ship is at. And when I back out, you can see that there's a check mark above that as well. And that gives you a daily bonus every day that you check in, and it moves along on a scale from day 1 to day 30, and then it resets to day 1. It also resets if you ever miss a day. The team meeting hall is also a good place that you're going to want to check in on every day. Again, that's going to give you the egg tokens to do breeding. When I click on the Bounty's Harbor today, I get 200 egg tokens. I also get twice as much because I've got the elite account purchased. But you can see it also gives you various different resources, rubies, timers, energy packs, and mythic fragments. And if you look at the day 23 prize, that's what a mythic fragment is, and I'll bring that up here just so you can get a better view of what it looks like. But each mythic fragment takes the place of a egg fragment from breeding. And when you're inside a breeding event, the mythic fragments are worth 400 points compared to an egg token. Each individual egg token is worth a single point. But this is a mythic fragment. It's a blue little fragment, and as I said, I'll show you here in just a second. I'm going to back out of this menu here and go over to the incubator, and that's one of the places that you can use the mythic fragments. And go over to your incubator. When you click on it and click on incubate egg, on this Keth egg right here, down at the bottom you can see it says add fragment, and I'm going to click on that, and right now I've got 48 of the fragments for this egg. When I click on the add fragment, it's going to add one mythic fragment, and now I've got 49 of the fragments that are required for that egg. I'm not going to do more right now because the breeding event currently hasn't started yet. At the point that I recorded this video, so I'm going to back out there. As I said, the next one you're going to want to check are your perches, and you've got 3 of them throughout your base. And this is your first perch that you can build, and you really want to build one perch and level it up and focus on that because it's going to boost the towers around it. And every day the dragons on your perches get XP for sitting on those perches. So this dragon on this perch boosts the islands that are highlighted in green here. And so it's really only boosting my farms and the mage tower that's there. This is the second perch you get, the River Watch perch. It's boosting these sections in green here. So it's boosting the towers that do the most attack damage. So it's the one that I focus on the most personally. You've also got this last perch here, the Stone Spear perch, and that boosts these 2 sections here. Each of these perches, the initial construction cost is more for each one from start to finish, but once you do the initial construction, the upgrade cost is exactly the same level for level. But you really just want to build one of them and focus on that until you're fairly late in the game and you've got the extra resources to spare on building multiple perches. You also want to keep your base short. You want to keep it between 15 and 20 towers, including your farms, which I've tried to keep to that myself. I've currently only got about 16 towers or 17 towers, and that includes the mage tower that we just started upgrading and a totem that helps reduce damage from wind element dragons at this point. But that's really the core basics of the game. You breed dragons to get more powerful dragons. You upgrade your base to get personal experience points and level up. and you attack other players to gain points, resources, and to win wars. I really hope all of this was helpful, and stay tuned for more episodes. Thank you for tuning in. If you did like it, please like and subscribe, and watch out for future episodes. And have a great day, everyone.